Hello and welcome back to my channel. In this episode we are going to address a few bugs I have found from the part 14, adding the prep table. I found these while I was doing some testing for preparation for the next video. And let's address what they are. First of all, let me show you what I found the bugs are, and then we can go ahead and address them from there. So I'm going to go ahead and play the game. So we're going to follow the instructions. We're going to add a recipe. And you also see we have nothing on the table, which is fine. Now if I go ahead and add the prep on here, 3 items. Oh. Okay, it all appears to work fine. Okay, but now the jam's gone, so but if you notice now, because I re-put the jam back on, it's jumped ahead to spread jam, so it's basically moving the stages ahead too fast. So when we come to try and actually do it, for example, if I go here and try and do it, it's going to come up with an error. So let me put some butter on the knife, which is, as we know, should be the first stage. It's going to come up as not allowing us to do it, you see, because it's basically saying we're in the wrong stage. So it hits. So we're hitting the bread. We can see that by the green, but it's not doing anything. We're not getting any message. So the little bugs are like that. So we're going to address those. Unfortunately, it means we're going to have to change a few functions, and we're going to add a new function. So first of all, let's open up our prep table. And first thing we're going to do is we're going to add a new function. Okay, in fact, and we're going to add a new variable as well. So we'll add the new variable first. And the variable is called ingredient actors on table. This is also, and this will be of type BPP underscore ingredients, and it will be an array. So if you right click, if you're in the left hand side here, you just right click on here, it'll switch it between a single and an array, or you can change it on the right hand side instead of the left hand side. Okay, so we've got that new variable. We can go ahead and use that in our new function. Just checking there are no additional changes there. No. For the next one, I believe. Also, what we need to do is we need to go to our BPI ingredient. We're in our interfaces, our BPI ingredient. We want to add a function here, and it's called div is empty, and that's going to have an output of is empty, and type boolean is fine. So we're now going to go to our BPP Parent blueprint, BPP ingredient. We're going to find that in our interface. And we're going to add is empty, which would be here. Like so. That's what we're going to do for that one. Okay. Because we also, another bug that came about is if the ingredient is empty, your pin list said you had that ingredient, but in effect you don't, because your jams are, it's empty, or your container will be empty. Make sure you compile and save that. We can go ahead and close that. We can go ahead and close the BPI. I'm going to just close a lot of these down. Okay. So in our perp table, we're now going to make a new function. We're going to click add function. We're going to call this find ingredients. I always have trouble with that word. I don't. Okay, we're going to set this as a pure function. And it's going to have two inputs. First input being called ingredients to look for. Keep the name nice and make sense. And this is going to be type again D8 ingredients. And the second input is going to be called quantity required. So the quantity for the recipe, and that will be an integer. And it has one output. We can just call this return value. And this is of type Boolean. Okay, so I'm just going to move it out of the way for a moment. And we're going to add, going into the bottom here, we're going to add a local variable. We're going to add two local variables. So we're going to say L found. And that's a single variable and it's of type Boolean. And we're going to add a second one, L quantity. And that's of type integer. We compile and save that. I believe it's all the local variables that we're using in this. Let me just double check. Yep, just the two. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to clear these values because this could get called on a loop. So we're going to clear these values like so. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to drag in our ingredient actors on table array that we made just now. We'll do a for each loop to it. Okay. We're going to come off of here. I'm going to say give ingredient data asset. Give ingredient data asset the message is the one we want. We're going to drag off of here, do an equals, equal. And is this equal to the ingredient to look for? So we can just drag off here and say ingredient to look for. It should come up here. And then we're going to do a find. Okay. And we're going to do a reroute from here. So we'll bring this up, bring this out here, do a reroute. Okay. And we're going to now call that give is empty that we just made in our interface. We'll do a branch from that. So this will be set true if it's empty, so we want to act on the false. And we're going to click on local found. We're going to check yes. We could technically just run it off of here, but I've found sometimes in the past I've had a little problems with that, so I prefer to just make sure I can see that it's set. Going to drag in our local quantity and we're going to increment it. That's ++ on your keyboard. Okay. Then we're going to go from the completed. We're going to drag our return node down, going that into here. Let me just zoom in a bit for you. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to bring in our local quantity. We're going to say, is this greater than or equal to the required quantity that we put at the start of our function here? If you can't find it, you can always run a string. It's up to you. We're going to also bring in our local found. We're going to do an and we're going to join this to the and the output. The output is going to go here. It is there. I don't know why it's not showing up. So hopefully it is there. Okay, so basically these two have to be true to return true. So if either one of those is incorrect, this will return false. Okay, again, make sure it's pure, compile and save. That's our new function done. We can go ahead and close that function. Now I've gone ahead and marked the functions that we're going to have to change. And the first one is quite a big change, and it's your add items to table list. So go ahead and double click that. We have a few changes to do here. I'm going to open up my reference project. Okay, so first of all, we're going to do is going to break these links for a second and move this out a little bit. And from this object reference, it's in actor here. We are going to do a cast to BPP ingredient. Okay. And then we're going to drag in our ingredients on table here. We're going to do an add. Make sure you do an add unique. Okay, which means we can't double up on the same actor if because sometimes when you're doing like get all overlapping actors, it may trigger more than once on different components within that actor. But if you do it add unique, it'll say, oh, we've already got that actor, I'm not going to add it again, so you'll get the correct amount. Give yourself a little bit of space. We can join this to here. And we can do a reroute node from the BPP ingredient and join that to the target or give it ingredients. Okay. Okay, so this is a little messy here, but we're going to neaten this up as we go along. Okay, so first thing I want to do is from here, I want you to promote this to a local variable and call it L data asset. And we're going to join that into here. Okay, so just for now, what we're going to do is we're going to replace any of these strings with that, just to neaten things up. So we're going to put one there, get rid of that reroute node. We're also going to put one here, get rid of these two reroute nodes, and this one here is fine as it is, although we could just move that to there. Neatens it up just a little bit more. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to move this over a little bit. So you get all of your nodes. Just stretch it out just a little bit. Actually, you don't want that one, so stretch these out just a little bit. Okay. So let me have a look. Let's neaten this up a bit. First of all, I'm going to stick a reroute node in here. Let's bring this one down here. We don't need that up there. Don't need that reroute node there, so I'm going to delete that and rejoin that. And so that looks a little bit neater there. Okay. I'm just going to bring down this way just a touch. Okay, so where are we going to change things here? So first of all, let's disconnect this. I'm going to select all of these. We're going to just put that on there for a moment. We are going to do some changes there. And on here, we're going to get our update pinned list and we're going to put it on here. Because the reason for this is we've already added the ingredients. We want to update the pinned list. Okay. We want to know whether it's the same. And this will check against it later on. Okay, so the next little change we're going to do here, we're going to do our update pin list. There is fine, here is fine, but here, before we go ahead and set the stage complete, we're going to do a little check. So let's do another branch. And we're going to get our kitchen manager. And we're going to give current stage. It should be, yep, give current stage. We'll make sure we put that in there. Okay, yeah, a little. And we're going to say, is this equal? Make sure you choose equal enum to add all ingredients on prep table. This will stop it jumping the stage. So it will only move on the stage if we're actually at that stage of adding ingredients on the prep table. So if, for example, you put the where I noticed the error is the next part is we're going to use the chopping board. So if you put the wrong item on the chopping board and then put it back, what it was doing, it was jumping forward a stage and wasn't allowing us to continue. Whereas now this will say, well, actually, no, you're on stage bread butter or put item on chopping board or whatever the stage is. So it doesn't matter what you put on the table, it's not going to jump the stage, but it will continue to add it to the table. Okay, so that's all we have to do for that one. So go ahead and compile and save. Update pinned list is also one we need to change. So we're going to go to our update pinned list. And this stays the same. This we want to do is let's do another little check here. So let's give ourselves a branch here. Because I was finding I was also getting some errors when it was trying to do this. we're going to copy and paste the ingredients list, and we're going to say it's not empty. Okay. Let's move this back a little bit. So we're only going to go ahead if this is not empty. This is set when we choose an ingredient for a recipe. So unless we've chosen a recipe, it's not going to update the pinned list because we don't have a recipe. So the first part here is the same. Local ingredient, this is the same. This is the same. Actually, no, this is not the same. So here we can go ahead and delete these. Move these up a little bit. And we can go ahead and put that into there. Okay. And we're going to just disconnect these for a moment. We're going to have another branch off of the truth here. And we can go ahead and connect these again off of this branch. This is where we're going to use find ingredient. So the output of that is going to be there. The ingredient is going to be our local ingredient. And the quantity is going to be from the map value here. Like I said to you before, if you are using versions earlier than 5.6, you may not have this node. If you are experiencing difficulties, you can't work it out, let me know in the comments below and I'll do a short video of how to get the same information instead of using this node. In fact, you could even possibly make a function, but it's not so easy. Okay, so once we've done that, we are pretty well much the same here. So this one is done. So that's good. The next one I have marked, I believe, is we've done add items to table. Are all ingredients on? Yes, are all ingredients on table? We've marked that for a change. Okay, so this says reasonable amount of changes. Again, we're going to check whether this is not empty, because we don't want to be going ahead and running all that code unnecessarily and possibly causing crashes or game errors. So it's a safety check, really. I believe I had 1 or 2 errors when I was doing some testing, and that's why I've added that. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to take our map key here. We're going to promote this to a local variable. We're going to call this L ingredient. And we're going to set that straight off the bat here. We can and now I'm going to delete this and delete this, and I'm going to move this out to 1. Okay, we're also going to get the map value. I'm going to promote that to a local variable. I'm going to call it L required. And we're going to set that here. Okay, so we're going to again drag in our local ingredient. We're going to drag in our new function, find ingredients. That to there. And we can, if we don't know, we can attach this to here. And we're going to do a branch. and we're going to the output of the branch there. Now, if this is true, we're going to go to our local variables and go L items found, which we have already. And we're just going to increment that. So ++ on your keyboard. Increment that. There. And what we're also going to do is, okay, this stays the same, so we can go ahead and more readable place. Double check that L item found length. Yep. So this will remain the same. Go ahead and compile and save that. That one. Remove items from table. List is the next one we're going to look at. Okay. So this is fairly similar to when we did the add one. So we're going to drag this out of here. We're going to break these. We're going to cast to the VPP ingredients, like so. We're going to drag in our ingredients ingredient actors on table array. I'm going to do a find item. I'm going to try and find that. Now, move this over just a little bit, give myself some space. For those of you that don't know, and if we look here, it should tell us, let's return value integer. The index the item is found at, or -1 if not found. So -1 is often used in C++ and Unreal to be like a default null value, means it doesn't exist. So we can use that to help us. So we're going to come off of here and say, is this greater than -1? Meaning, has it found something? So 0 is greater than -1. So even at index 0 means that it has found something at index 0, 1, 2, 3, whatever. We'll do a branch. Come off of the cast. And that's going to be what we're going to look for. And we are then going to do a reroute node from here, down here, and we're going to put that into our give ingredient data. We're setting that, which is still going to remain the same. We're finding this, which is still going to remain the same. Okay, so that's still going to remain the same. The add is going to remain the same. The final bit of difference is we're going to drag in our get ingredients. Oh, hang on, did I forget to do that? Yes, so after this true, no, after this true, first true, we'll save a little bit of space and promote this to a local variable. We could call it L index. You don't have to do this, it just saves a lot of strings. So we're going to set this after this true, because if it's false, we don't care, we don't need it. Okay. But safety measures, make sure you compile it. For safety measures, I'm going to set the default value for that is -1, meaning it's not there. Okay. Now we can go all the way back to the end again. We're going to drag in that local index. And we're going to come from here and say remove index. And we're going to join those two into there, and the index we're going to remove it here. Okay. By removing the index, basically it moves everything down that was above it, down one. So if you remove index 0, one becomes 0, and so on and so forth. But this function here will look for it anyway and give you the correct index for the item we want to remove. Now we're moving it off this array here because obviously we're taking that item off the table. The actor is no longer in the array. The reason we're using this is because, as I said earlier, we can access the is empty from the actor, but we can't from the data asset. Even though we do have it in the data asset, well, we could put it in the data asset. If you change it in the data asset, then it changes it globally for everything that uses that data asset. So you can't change items in the data asset. We can like read only. Okay, so that's that one done. The next function I have got marked, that's remove items. Set ingredients and table startup. No, I think that remained the same because we're using add items to list to change that and find ingredients. So that should be all the changes that we require. And we're going to go ahead and do a quick test, and if it fails, I'll go back and find out what I've missed, if anything. Okay, so we're going to do a quick test. It says press tab, it's working. We can choose our bread and jam. Okay, now already it says we have slice of bread, so on and so forth. So I have missed something somewhere. Bear with me. I will come straight back after I have found it. I don't want you to hang around while I look for it. Okay, it was quite simple. Go to our WDT pinned recipe line. On our event construct, this says checked. We want to make sure we change this to unchecked first of all. So now if we play it again, click tab, choose a recipe, they come back as all crosses. Now we can go ahead and we can add our items. Yeah, we've got our bread, that's fine. We've got our strawberry jam. And we've got our butter. And it says spread butter on bread. Now if I pick this up, it removes the strawberry jam as it should do. Drop it again, it places the strawberry jam. It doesn't give us another message to move on to a new stage. And just to double check that, as a sanity check, go to your kitchen manager, right click and find your tick. I find event tick very useful for troubleshooting. Drag in your current stage, do a print string. For your duration, use the delta seconds, which means you'll only get it once at the top of the screen instead of a big line down the side of the screen. And just do that enum to string, so we're getting our current stage. So if we play again now, you'll see it says none. We have no stage at the moment. Press tab. Now it says add all ingredients to prep table, which is correct. Let's do that. Oh, it's still on the table. Now it says spread butter, which is correct. If I move the butter pick the butter up, drop the butter. It still says spread butter. It doesn't move on the stage because it doesn't care if we're dropping stuff on the table. It's just going to keep changing or updating our list. Okay. Oops. Okay. You just love physics sometimes. Okay. So that appears to be working as it should do. The butter doesn't seem to be off. What about the bread? Okay, so there seems a little issue with those two. The jam works fine. The butter doesn't. Okay, so let me just go and sort that problem out, why those two are not being removed from the list. Let's just play again just to make sure it wasn't just a play bug. If I put one item on, let's do it a little bit nicely. Okay, we haven't pinned the recipe. So let's pin a recipe. And it doesn't show that we've got the ingredients there, so we can change that in a moment. If I drop the bread, it's okay. If I take it off, okay, it's not reacting to the bread being taken off. Okay, so let me go and investigate that, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, I found that little problem. We'll go back to our prep table. We go to our update pinned list. Basically, it's this check here that's causing us the problem. We don't need it anymore because this is handled in here. So we can go ahead and delete this, delete the ingredients on table, and delete advanced. Make sure you reconnect. Hopefully that should solve that problem. So let's pin a recipe. Let's add some ingredients on the table. One, bread. I can put something here. Okay. So you see, we've got bread and butter. So if I pick up the bread, it removes it. Put it down. It places it just like it should do. So just that check there that was causing the problem. Okay, so I think that those bugs eliminated for now. If you find any bugs, while you're doing it yourself or any problems whatsoever, don't hesitate to either drop me a comment or hit me up on DMs in Discord. I'll be glad to help. And if it's a genuine bug rather than maybe an error that you've done in your code, if it's a bug I can repeat, I'll make a video and let everybody know and shout out whoever found it. Hope to see you in the next one. Don't forget, if you like my content, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. If you really like my content, join my Patreon or buy me a coffee. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.